As an intellectual project, CAS enables Africanists to more easily mobilize and interject Africa into conversations that have not traditionally recognized Africa or not recognized it well. Those of you who are familiar with CAS know that we have a very ambitious programming agenda. Perhaps less visible, but equally important, is the active research agenda of its more than 50 members. And so to commemorate that work, we're showcasing the 20 years of Africanist scholarship by members. And you'll see right over there the beginnings of that commemoration. That membership involves scholars from every campus, Camden, Newark, New Brunswick, across a range of schools, from SAS, education, social work, to the biological and education and environmental sciences, nursing, and business, and a multitude of departments that I won't enumerate here. But do check out the CAS bookshelf over the course of the day. We're also pleased and quite honored that two members of the administration have come to kick off the festivities with brief welcomes. And I will turn things over briefly to Barbara Lee, Senior Vice President for Academic Affairs, and to Jim Masschaele, Executive Vice Dean of the School of Arts and Sciences.
Thank you, Stephane. I almost feel as if you are welcoming me. This is my first interaction with the Center for African Studies, and I'm very excited to be here today. First, congratulations on 20 years of fabulous work, and to have the home of your disciplinary society here is quite an achievement. Secondly, I'm very, very excited and pleased to hear that you are pan-university. Sometimes in my job, I feel that there are barriers not only between campuses, but sometimes between departments. And obviously you have figured out how to overcome those barriers and show that it can be done by working collaboratively all across the university, whether you're a humanist or a social science, or a scientist or an education faculty member, you've figured it out. So it seems to me that you're a model that we ought to emulate for the rest of the university. So I'm going to take this back and start talking about what you have been doing for the last 20 years, obviously very successfully. So have a great afternoon. I'm going to stay as long as I can to listen to our distinguished speaker. And thank you for all that you do for the center and for Rutgers, and thank you for inviting me.
Well, I'd just like to echo what Barbara just said about how proud we are of the Center for African Studies. It's been a great contributor to the School of Arts and Sciences for the 20 years that it's been in existence, and I think it's been a great marker of the importance of Africa and African studies, not just at Rutgers, but making Rutgers visible as one of the major players in this area to the rest of the country. So thank you, Stephane, and thank you to the staff for organizing this event. I think this is a wonderful moment to stop and reflect on the accomplishments of 20 years. It's interesting. I think many of you know that this morning, it might still be going on actually, there was a dedication ceremony for the Sojourner Truth apartments in the Yard, and also for Will's Way by Old Queens. That was a moment, a call, many of the speakers were calling us to reflect on the history of Rutgers University and on the contributions of African Americans to Rutgers University. And I think that what the Center for African Studies does, in some ways it extends, and especially this event, it extends that conversation to 20 years, a reflection on 20 years, and a reflection on 20 years in Rutgers' connection to Africa. So I think that this is a wonderful moment to have this conversation. I do think, I was chatting with Stephane for a few minutes before we started here, and I was remembering 4 or 5 years ago, the history department had a similar 20th anniversary memorial for the Rutgers Center for Historical Analysis, which is another great organization that brings together scholars from a wide range of disciplines to have really interesting conversations. And one of the things that I found was very successful about that event was not just reflecting on what had happened over the previous 20 years, but also a really interesting conversation that emerged about what could happen over the next 20 years, right? And so I think that an event like this gives you that opportunity